And guys, as always, please, I think you can like podcasts, I don't know, share and comment and let other people know about this. It'll be so good. If you feel valuable, please do that. What's happening today, guys? I hope we're doing all right. Today's episode is about, we can get in depth about belief, about how it really affects us, and also about leverage. And we're going to talk about identity, and I really hope we can start to look at these things and be a bit more specific. Because when I talk about responsibility, it's all good to take responsibility, but we have to know what to take responsibility over, because identity, belief, and leverage are key skills on what to actually take responsibility over to control your life. So the big question is this: how can dyslexics like us create a place, a community, a tribe where people at any stage of life can come and solve any challenge, amplify their strengths, and ultimately help them become who they were meant to be? Or in other words, conquer their dyslexia. That is the question, and this show is the answer. My name's Theo Goff, and welcome to the Conquering Dyslexia podcast. Hello guys, I hope we're doing good and alright. Today I want to talk to us, and I really want to dive really deep into the power of belief as a dyslexic, of what our identity is as a dyslexic, and how can we use leverage to really help us see the truth and see what's out there. Because by now we should know that, okay, this is what dyslexia is, and the reason why I feel I have low self-esteem, the reason why I feel I can't do certain things, like, for example, I can't be this confident person, I can't go out there and speak to these people, I can't complete that test, is because of a belief we have about ourselves. A belief we have about why we can't do something. Or another way of saying the word belief is a story. A story we tell ourselves about why we can't have what we want. And having these beliefs and having these stories isn't completely our fault, because we grow up in an environment that's not designed for a person with a dyslexic mind to go in and to go through. And because we have these experiences of people saying to us we're lazy, or people saying to us just try harder, of us feeling totally and utterly embarrassed in school, in our little reading circle, or at a job when our manager doesn't understand the word dyslexia, or all these different things. We have these certain experiences, and oftentimes from these experiences we decide what this means. Like, this means I'm dumb, this means I'm different, this means that I shouldn't put myself out there. And because of this meaning we had of that thing, we have a belief saying, I can't do it, I'm dumb, I'm shy, I don't just get out there, I don't tell people I'm dyslexic because they think something's wrong with me. And today I want to really talk in detail about what a belief is, and about identity and leverage. And it's going to be really good, and it's a critical step of, think about, actual transformation, because this is what this little series is talking about, transformation as a dyslexic person. Because I remember with me, I'm having my big aha, and realizing, look, I've got to take responsibility for my life. I can get over there, but I've got to take ownership. And then I got really obsessed about understanding everything about myself, and I realized ultimately I'm a collection of everything I've experienced, of all the things I've listened to, of all the things I've done, of the people around me. I'm a collection of everything I have, everything that's happened to me in the past, everything I've seen, everything I've heard, everything I've listened to. Ultimately, that's how I am, that's how my beliefs and that stuff happen, the meaning we take from situations. So that's how I am. I was like, okay, so I believe all these things, I have, at the time, I had little confidence. I can't speak to people. No one likes me. I can't speak to people socially. I can never be able to do these things. I had these beliefs. It's okay, it's from the past, but how can we get over there to believe different things about ourselves? Because the truth is this: you can do it. The truth is, you can get there. You can be this person you want to be. You can be confident. You can seem really smart, and you can get that course. You can get that job. You can do that thing. You can. It is possible. But what is stopping you is the story you tell yourself about why you can't have it. And what is the story? A story and a belief are the same thing. But what are they ultimately? Ultimately, all there is a feeling of certainty about something. Feeling of certainty about, this is how I feel about this. This is how I feel about that. It's just a feeling of certainty about something. It's not true, it's not real, it's a feeling of certainty. Or in other words, it is an opinion of yourself. For example, I remember I was sitting there in sixth form. My teacher was saying to me, why don't you want to improve English? Like, you mean, why aren't you going to your lessons? Why do you think that you can't improve it? And I was saying to Miss, look, I had the best help and support for 8 years of my life. I can't improve it. If they could make me improve, how do you think you can make me improve? And then she leant forward and said to me, why do you think that, Theo? And I said, well, I think that because I believe it. But I realised a belief is ultimately an opinion about myself. And I remember sitting there in that classroom in that moment, being so vulnerable, opening myself up to the possibility that I could improve my English, the possibility that, yes, I had all this help and support in the past, but what if I give it everything I got? What will happen then? And then I worked really hard and everything changed. But because I was willing to understand the fact that what you think about yourself now is just an opinion. It's just an opinion. Like, I'm shy, I'm awkward, I'm depressed, I'm this, I'm that. That's just an opinion. Oftentimes it's not who you are, that's how you've been acting. And oftentimes we can get confused about how we act and who we are, thinking how we act is who we are. That is false. For example, if I have a really bad day and act people in a really mean, nasty way, that's not who I am, that's how I acted. Because what I believe at the core, human beings are so much more than how they act. But oftentimes they don't have the resources necessary to make them act in the way that's best for them. Oftentimes they're reactive to the environment, angry, stressed, annoyed, fearful. And oftentimes that's how we act as dyslexics, as angry, stressed, annoyed and fearful to our environment. Because we feel like we can't do it. We feel like we're going to be fear. We feel like it's all that fight and flight thing. When you grow up always believing you've done things wrong, that we can't really trust people, or people don't understand you. Oftentimes you feel like you're running. Oftentimes that your heart races and you feel like you're in a flight and fight moment when you're not. You're just going through day-to-day life. And that's called trauma. That's called physical trauma, and it does have a massive physical effect. So beliefs. Let's get into beliefs now. We understand why it's important. We understand how to move forward and all the key knowledge. So beliefs. A belief is a feeling of certainty about something. But how can you get rid of a belief? You can get rid of a belief by creating uncertainty about that thing. Basically coming up with reasons why this makes no sense. The reasons why this isn't a logical argument. Think about it. You feel certain about something, but create reasons why you shouldn't be certain about it. And your brain go, hold on, I don't want to believe this no more. I want to believe this thing over here. I'm going to tell myself this story. Yeah, and that's the first thing. Second, the second way of doing it, just say different stuff to yourself. See, I don't believe that. I believe this over here. And once we start creating a new belief, we understand that we think we have a new ability, and we start working towards that. Because human beings are so powerful, but it's our beliefs that stop us. It's our beliefs. Because if I had the same beliefs that I did as a kid, starting sixth form, I wouldn't be nowhere where I was today. I'm the same person. What changed? My beliefs. Same thing with you. I bet there's times where you believed you couldn't do something, you couldn't achieve that thing, you couldn't go that far, you couldn't, do this or complete that, but you did. And that changed your belief, didn't it? And now your years or months or days or whatever past that thing that you accomplished, you're looking back thinking, yeah, I've done that. I accomplished that. What else can I do now? So it's a belief, and you have to get basically reasons why it won't work. Think of it like a tabletop. Like your belief is like a table. But if it only has one leg, one reference point to make it sure it makes sense, then it's hard for it to make a belief. But it has like 4, 5, 6 legs, 6 different basically reasons why it's true, then that's going to be more more like hard their belief. A belief that's more there. So that's the first thing, a belief. And a story is the same thing as a belief. I'm this sort of person. I don't like this. This is a story we tell ourselves, okay? First thing. Second thing I want to talk about is leverage. Leverage is so critically powerful. It's critically powerful to what we want to do, to leverage ourselves, to really motivate ourselves. Because all leverage is, it's motivation in a way. It's linking, not intellectually. Here's what people don't understand. Human beings are emotional creatures. Because you can intellectually understand that dyslexia doesn't stop you, but emotionally have it stop you so much in your life. Does that understand? So you have to understand we're emotional creatures. And leverage, creating leverage on ourselves, specifically linking pain to doing something we don't want to do, and linking pleasure doing something we do want to do. Not intellectually, but during that habit. Not saying like, for example, you need loads of pain to eat like after you ate a big chocolate cake. That doesn't work because your pain is afterwards. Your pain isn't initial because you have a trigger why you want to eat that and moving forward in it. Okay, so leverage is so powerful. Now, how can you use leverage? Because remember, I said there's two invisible forces: pain and pleasure in our life, isn't there? Pain and pleasure, and that's how things control. That's how we control our actions. Because whatever we link more pleasure to than pain, we move towards. Pain to than pleasure, we move away from. So the biggest thing that I've really used is just write down 10 things that will happen if I don't do this, if I don't do my morning ritual, if I don't improve my English, if I don't get this thing that I know I can. 10 things that will happen. Be like, well, if I don't do, for example, my morning ritual is a big one that I've worked for years trying to develop, like me doing it consistently. It's like, okay, if I don't do it, I'll get really fat. If I don't do it, I'll lose respect for myself. If I don't do it, I won't have the time to progress and apply in this dyslexic stuff that I'm doing. If I don't do it, then I won't have the knowledge I want to do. If I don't do it, then I won't grow the way I want to do. If I don't do it, then this will happen. Then I extend it to my job. Then 10 years down the line, if I don't do it for 10 years, then this will happen in my relationship. Then I won't have friends or anyone. I'll feel miserable and really fat, obese person. And get really down and granular about how I'd feel about exactly what I would look, if I looked in the mirror of myself 10 years down the line, what I would look at. Does that make sense? And then on the other side, what happens if I would do this consistently? Well, my confidence will explode, my discipline will explode, my basically fitness will explode, my physique will be so much more better. Think about that, the knowledge I have, the amount of time I have to work on the things I want to work on. All of that will massively motivate me, because the one thing I really want us to take away from this is that we can use leverage right now to our advantage. Pick something you want to improve on, pick something that you want to make progress on, but you haven't been able to. Write down 10 reasons or 10 negative consequences if you don't take action on this, and 10 positive things if you do take action on this. Finally, I want to talk about something called identity. Identity is so powerful. What identity is? Identity is the same thing as a story, the same thing as a belief, but it's a very strong belief. Identity is your opinion about yourself. Your opinion about, okay, this is my identity. And in fact, it's so powerful, it is the strongest force in the human personality. So that's how powerful it is. And having that and understanding, okay, how can I shift this? You shift this by having like a new belief. You shift this, like I spoke about last time quite a bit. It's so important to shift. So I really wanted to cover some basics with you here about core fundamentals, about how to transform, like core elements to focus on, core elements to understand. And then like tomorrow we'll do a thing about pattern interrupts, how to create pattern interrupts, how to do things. All right, guys, take care, farewell, and bye.